Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and I just got back from the new film 3 Days to Kill. A dying CIA agent, played by Kevin Costner, who has recently retired from the CIA when he learns he has cancer and it is spreading throughout his body, so he wants to spend the last 3 to 5 months of his life with his ex-wife and his daughter, and then is contacted by the CIA again to tell him that if he gets rid of the following people, they will give him an experimental drug that will somehow cure him. And his lead contact in Paris is played by Amber Heard, who plays kind of this wannabe femme fatale. But at the same time, as he's trying to see his daughter, who he hasn't seen in 5 years, and reconnect with her, he has been given these instructions to kill these people while her mom is out of town for 3 days. So that's why it's called 3 Days to Kill, and he can't let her know that he's a CIA agent, and it's a collision course to wackiness and bad filmmaking. 3 Days to Kill, which is directed by Mick G. Mick G is probably the biggest hack of all Hollywood hack directors. He used to be a decent enough music video director with his flashy colors and everything, but he's never really made a film that was good or enjoyable or watchable. All his films have been pretty horrendously bad, whether it's his recent filmography like Terminator Salvation and This Means War, or his Charlie's Angels films. He's never really been able to find out what he's good at. He does a lot of quick cuts and has a lot of music going on during it, but he doesn't really have any memorable sequences in his film, and it seems like he's stuck in this whole making a funny, fun action-adventure comedy. And I think action-adventure comedies, especially ones that involve a dad being a secret agent, the family either not knowing about it or the daughter not knowing about it or something like that, is not a very great genre, and it has an illustrious history of a lot of failures in it. The only film that I can think of that was any decent, is very watchable, is True Lies, but all the other films that have been made in this genre are horrible, forgettable, and usually don't have any good action sequences and don't really get what's so fun about it. They kind of rely on melodrama and don't rely on the genre cliches or the humor or get a good enough actor and director like Schwarzenegger and Cameron were with True Lies. This film is also trying to do what happened to Liam Neeson recently, where he plays an action hero dad like in Taken, and this is trying to be a funnier version of that. It's produced and written by Luc Besson, who helped make Taken, and Europa Corp, who also made Taken. Costner wasn't really as an inspired casting choice as Liam Neeson was. Liam Neeson works perfectly in a big action film like Taken. Kevin Costner isn't the kind of actor you really want in a funny, fun kind of domestic film like this is. Now, this film has a lot more problems than just Kevin Costner's casting. There's a lot of supporting characters that make no sense. There's a large African family, I think, who's squatting in his apartment, and that, I don't understand where that's going with it. A lot of times this film feels dubbed, and I'm wondering if they like changed characters' names, because there's several times where Amber Heard is talking and her lips don't match up with what she's saying. There's whole scenes that look like it was completely ADR'd, and there's whole dialogue scenes where someone's talking and you're not watching them talk, you're watching someone listening to them talk. Anytime they'd have a semi-decent action sequence, he'd pick horrible angles. It was like really incomprehensible in a lot of places. Like, it couldn't even really get into the action sequences because it was so cut beyond belief. I've noticed in a lot of action sequences recently, it's not so much that it's a bad action sequence and the staging doesn't look bad, but the way they cut it and put it together makes it look so horrible that like I don't even really care about the action sequence. It's almost superfluous. It's not giving me the thrill that it's supposed to show like how awesome he is. McGee's one of the few action directors who you can tell has absolutely no love for the genre, doesn't want us to have a well choreographed, well made action sequence. And even if this film did have one, he'd cut it to ribbons. This film's probably one of the worst cast films I've seen in a long time, you know, with Kevin Costner, who I've never really thought was a good actor. I liked him fine in Man of Steel. I actually thought he was pretty good in that, but most of the time I don't like him at all. He's really bland and too laid back, and the only thing he's really good at in this film is when he plays kind of an angry dad, but he's not good at the secret agent end of it. And then you have Amber Heard, who's like really trying to be this femme fatale. It feels like a role that Amber Heard wanted to play. I wasn't sure, did the screenwriter write that or did Amber Heard come up with that? And it makes me think she's like very full of herself and her sexy image, and she has this idea that like all men are super attracted to her, and certainly she's not ugly or anything, but it's like she like overdoes it so much it becomes even more unappealing to me. The femme fatale character is one character that hasn't worked well with a lot of the actresses who are working today. Just can't pull it off the way they used to in classic Hollywood. I just haven't seen anyone who can do it as effectively, and while you're watching it just want to see her on screen all the time. I like really could have done without Amber Heard, and isn't she just playing the same role she played in Machete Kills? McG doesn't really know what he's doing with this film, and I think that's the major problem with this film. Is if it had just been a simple premise of, you know, dad's an assassin watching after his daughter for 3 days, which they don't even stick to that, so I don't know why it's even called 3 Days to Kill. I guess secret agent dad was taken. If it had been more of a simple premise of just him watching his daughter for the weekend for 3 days and doing the secret agent thing, this film could work. But when they kept adding on and adding on and adding on, and it's a poorly made film on top of that. And so it's got so many things going against it that it's impossible to like this movie. The premise isn't a bad premise. And you know, the funny thing is about this and This Means War is, in theory, they could be enjoyable, audience-friendly movies. But McG is such a hack of a director and so bad at making action sequences and compelling characters and really doing almost anything other than, like, I don't know what he's really good at. I guess the opening sequence looked kind of cool. So he had a nice opening credits. That's good for him. In This Means War, it's sitcom-y or overdone, or in this film it reminds me of like a TV drama that's overly dramatic and soapy. He can't even be kind of a normal, kind of pathetically decent Hollywood director. Like, he fails at that and he overcomplicates it. I don't understand what the squatting family had to do with anything. I could see plot twists coming a mile away. McG seems to be really good at that. Every time I see a McG film, someone in the audience can always call out what's going to happen next. If he's doing it with skill, he's truly a genius, because I've never seen a director who can have plot twists so obviously apparent than McG. In a way, I get they're trying to do the Liam Neeson thing, but put a twist on it and with a different actor, so he has a different kind of persona. Kevin Costner wasn't right for this role. In fact, I think Liam Neeson, if you got a decent director behind it, would have been nice for this role. Obviously, if you've seen the Lego movie, you know he can do more of a comedic role actually fairly well. But one of the things about criticism is you're not supposed to really talk about what a film or what a piece of art isn't. You're supposed to talk about what it is. And with 3 Days to Kill, there's just too many things ripping it apart. There's too many things to go, oh, well, Kevin Costner's a bad lead. Oh, the direction's bad. Why? Who is this character? Why is this cut so badly? There's just too much dislike that even with a semi-appealing, audience-friendly, wacky premise like this has, it just can't even work with that. And I don't even think it's really that great of a premise anyway. This film fails on absolutely everything that you could have enjoyed from a film like this. So if you have seen 3 Days to Kill and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments and subscribe if you would like to.